Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to another segment of Welcome to the Lion's Den. Let me allow myself to introduce myself. I go by the name of the Celestial Goddess. I am a psychic medium. I am a seer. I am a bridge to the other side. I can hear, I can see, and I can feel spirit. On this is a pre-recorded video. I'm not going to be on here long, but I don't know if you all recall on my other videos, and I told you all that I will be starting my Chronicles, my episodes about how I came about coming into my spirituality. So this will be my first episode. My journey has been up and down like a water raft. And I am the only spiritualist on both sides of my family, on my mom's side and my dad's side. So I'm the black sheep of the family. / golden egg. I grew up from a small town. I am from the Delta. I am from Mississippi. I grew up in poverty. My grandparents raised me. Now, my mom, she was still in my life, but my grandparents ended up raising me. She had me at a young age. She had me at 15. And my dad, you know, he was doing his thing. He was young. He got on drugs at an early age, you know. So I seen him around town. You know, he spoke to us and everything, but he wasn't just in my life, like bonding wise, until I would say probably like in my teenage years. So my grandparents raised me. We grew up in poverty. I grew up on a farm. Yes, my granddad is a farm worker. And my grandmother is a homemaker. So my grandparents ended up raising me. And you know, growing up, I didn't have the best of everything. I didn't have the ladies of the Nikes or the Tommy Hill figure or the Felines or the Jordans. I had to get my shoes at the local, I wouldn't say it was a dollar store or a secondhand store, but I would say more like a Fred's. More like a Fred's. I know you all know what Fred's is. So I had to get my shoes out of Fred's and clothes. So I couldn't go to the mall or go shopping like my classmates. You know, they had the Jordans and the Felines. They kept their hair and stuff did. I didn't always get a perm. I mean, we couldn't afford it. I had to get my hair pressed a lot of times. So, you know, being in school, I was very introverted. I didn't say very much. I was always to myself, you know, because I felt as if I didn't fit in, you know. So, sanitation work, okay, there we go. I feel like I didn't fit in. I would say kindergarten, I would say 5th grade, 6th grade. I was an honor student. I made A's and B's. I was, you know, good kid. You know, I'm from the country. Of course, where I'm from, you probably see a car every 45 minutes to an hour. That's how deep in the country I grew up in. I grew up around cotton fields, bean fields, anything dealing with crops, I was around. We had peach trees. We had plum trees. So I always grew up around food. My granddaddy, very hard worker, you know, family man, family oriented, all about taking care of his family. Very hard working long hours on this farm that he had been working for so many years, which he was overworked and underpaid. In my childhood, as I can recall, like I said, we grew up in poverty and we didn't always have food to eat. I done went to bed hungry plenty of nights. We didn't always have food to eat. No, we did not. And we did not get food stamps. We did not get family, any type of government assistance. No. Until later on, my mom did, but that was later on in the years. But fast forwarding, like I said, I made A's and B's in school. I was very introverted in school, quiet. I didn't say very much. I would say probably high school, around 15, I got my first job, which was McDonald's. And I was super, super, super excited. Now I finally get a chance to make my own money and buy my own clothes and buy what I want. I can go get me a pair of Nikes that I like, because I'm a Nike girl. Not Jordans. I'm not a fan of Jordan. I'm a Air Max type girl, So I can go buy me a nice pair of Nikes because, I didn't work hard for it. Go give me, a few pair of nice jeans and nice shirt. I can go get my hair did and get my nails did, So when I first started working my first job, I'm like, okay. I felt then, just a little bit. Then when I was in high school, I started gaining, associates. I started talking, coming out my shell, Now, don't get me wrong. I do have 2 friends back home that I haven't talked to in a minute, but anytime we on social media or we'll come across each other's page, we'll, say, hey, friend, this and that and that and that and this, So we never lost contact. We just haven't seen each other in a long time. I'm not going to be on here long, but this is my first episode of me coming into my spirituality, which is going to be very interesting. It's been one hell of a ride. Let me just say that. Since 2019, one hell of a ride. I'm not going to take you all too fast. I want to introduce myself first. Talk to you all about my childhood, then my teenage years. Then I'm going to go into adulthood / motherhood, and all this is gonna add up at the end. I don't know how many episodes it's gonna be, but it's gonna be very, very interesting. So I want you all to continue to stay tuned, and I want to share with you my experience that I experienced with spirit, my higher self, my ancestors. And I got a surprise for y'all. I'm going to let you all know who exactly put me on my journey, and it's going to be very interesting. Okay, so let's backtrack back to me starting to work at McDonald's, making my own money. I feel good about myself, because my self-confidence level wasn't always like on 10. My self-confidence level, I had issues with that, because I was called the ugly girl in school. I was called the ugly duckly, or I was bullied. I was talked about, And when you've been bullied and talked about at school, that makes you become very introverted. Like, what they gonna say about me today? Like, I went to school with dirty socks on, shoes. Yes, all of that. Yes, and that's what I want to talk about. That's why I am on here talking to you all about this. I've been bullied. I've been talked about. My name been slandered and all of that. So, as I'm going through my high school years, and my dad came in my life when I was like 14, 15, my sister and I have a sister. Everybody says she looks just like me. So my mom had 2 kids by my father. They're not together. So going through high school, you know, my dad came around, you know, we starting to bond, you know. What's the saying? The daughter, if the dad has a daughter first, that's her first love. I didn't get a chance to experience that. I missed out on it. So I didn't get a chance to bond with my father when I was a baby and growing up into my teenager years. I started bonding with my father when I was in my teenage years. So, you know, we had a lot of stuff to catch up on. A whole lot of things. Now, my dad, don't get me wrong, that's still my dad. You know, he did what he did in the streets, you know. Where I'm from, you know, they brought the drugs into these low income towns and cities, and it wrecked a lot of homes and destroyed a lot of people. And my dad was a part of that. And do I fault him? No, I don't. I do not. I love my dad dearly. And he did ended up getting himself back on track. He ended up moving to Atlanta, you know. He got himself together. He got himself together. And one moment I will cherish, when we did start to bond, we ended up spending the summer with him and we had a good time. So I will always thank him for that. Even though my grandma, was not going. When I say my grandma was not going, when I say my grandma was super strict, we couldn't do nothing. My sister and I, you ain't going nowhere. If it ain't over our auntie house, you ain't going nowhere. When I say nowhere, nowhere. So if she had a hard time letting go, she had a hard time letting go. Like, where you take my babies to? See, my auntie came first. She was not going, so my dad had to double back. And she ended up letting loose. I'm like, oh my God, my grandma was not going, baby. And these my granddaughters. So we had a good time in Atlanta that summer. We did. My auntie ended up getting married. She's no longer in the physical. She transitioned over about 2 years ago. Yeah, she transitioned over. And I know she's around me in spirit. I love you, auntie. I know that. Yep. So, move right on along. So, you know, I'm in my teenage years now. And my dad always told me, Shantae, that's my name, my name is Shantae. Stay focused. Do you understand me? You're in high school now. You need to stay focused. I said, I will. You know, by this time, I'm in the 11th grade. My grandma then got a little bit more linear. Now I'm able to go to the football games and stuff. You know, I can go to my friend's house, you know, even though I used to skip tutoring sometimes. Like, where you been? You been in tutoring? Nope. Be out hanging around. I got skeletons. I surely do. So, you know, my dad was saying, stay focused. I said, I will. And guess what happened? I ended up getting sidetracked. I ended up getting sidetracked. Doing things I did not have any business doing. So stay tuned on the next episode of the Celestial Goddess Chronicles. I'll talk to you all later. I pray that you all have a marvelous day. And we're going to get into it more. Oh, it's only gonna get juicier from here. So stay tuned. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. Welcome to the Lions Den, the number 2. Lions with an apostrophe S, Den, D-E-N. My TikTok is The Celestial Goddess. The spell T-H-A. My Instagram is The Celestial Goddess 5. T-H-A. T-H-E. I misspelled that wrong. They won't let me change it. But subscribe to my, and my Facebook, The Celestial Goddess. I'm sorry. So stay tuned. I got more to come, and it's only going to get juicier from here. And also, I'm going to let y'all in on who put me on my spiritual journey. Talk to you soon.